Duminder.
I can do that if you want. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you all here online. I'm looking forward to contribute from my capacity, and I don't know any of you, I think, except Chaminda. So I'm looking forward to get to know you as well.
You can
Yeah.
introduce yourself, where you're connected from, what you do, briefly.
Okay. Yeah, I am connecting from United Kingdom. I am a senior lecturer in organizational behavior and human resource management. Do a bit of research on leadership, so I'm trying to bring that perspective into the discourse.
Okay, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Rohan from England, can you switch on your video and speak? Ranjan, we are still waiting for you. I don't know which Ranjan is that. The spy or something?
Is it Ranjan Ramanayaka?
I don't know.
That's what I asked too.
Rohan is also like hidden. Okay, so let's get started officially. I am sure there will be more people joining soon or maybe a little later. So thank you very much for joining and welcome to the session on this online like a citizens dialogue on Ranjan and Beyond. Actually, the idea is to talk about Ranjan as a kind of a reference case, but talk about broader issues of freedom of expression, democracy, maybe also issues like contempt of course and court, the things, those things related. So this is like a free platform where you can talk about anything you like on the same line of thinking. So also let me just quickly share with you now. I have different roles, as some of you already know, but today I'm kind of connected or hosting this session uh, as the convener of the this group called Professionals for Ranjan. I'm sure most of you are already members of that. Let me share the screen. Okay, so I can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the idea is now Ranjan Ramanayaka has already, of course, I will not talk about his case in detail because some of you may be touching that. But now Ranjan has a kind of main two support bases. One is um, his fans, right? Fans, and then he also, as a member of parliament and a member of a political party, has a political support. Now, what I want is the original idea was to support him in a professional capacity, because I see a lot of admirable things in him as a citizen. So I think we need to protect people like him and even get inspiration from people like him. So that is the idea of having this group. So basically now, if you look at his support for political groups, they mainly work locally and in singular and sometimes even kind of in an irrational form. But we want to like look at this unique personality and get his kind of activism or his line of thinking to a broader society and maybe have some kind of positive contribution in a more rational, calculated, scientific way. That is the idea of this group. So we don't have any kind of connection to Ranjan. We don't get any money from him. It's just citizenship solidarity. That's the important thing. So therefore, I kind of thank you for you to be kind of members or part of this session. So as a part of this group, eventually we want to create this as a platform for discussing other issues like democracy, rule of law, and freedom of expression. And then also to some extent to support, let's say, for example, if there are opportunities to support Ranjan internationally in terms of as a part of overall human rights and freedom of expression of Sri Lanka. So we will look at all the options in the future. But mainly this is a digital forum because there are people protesting in the street, there are people protesting in the parliament, in the political forums, but we will do this in more digital space using such kind of technological tools. Now today's session, I want to also kind of share the idea of, or mainly the scope of the session. Today, we won't talk about freedom expression as the main point. Now, I am sure you all have a good idea about that, but in order to have kind of same understanding about freedom of choice, I will have some discussion, global discussion, and what is happening in Sri Lankan context, and what are the positives and negatives with some current cases, and then I will open the floor. So I need another maybe 15 minutes. So let me quickly go to a video. I found this very interesting video explaining what is freedom of expression. Where is that? Okay, so I have not prepared any PowerPoints. I'm sure there are some guys who is going to present, but I use directly, web-based resources. Okay. Can I make more? No problem to make it. You can't see my screen, right?
I can see.
Can you?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it.
You can see the YouTube thing.
Yes.
It's
Try
not
to
running.
play it.
When
Yeah,
I play,
it's played.
can you see it playing? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see.
No tax increases, higher wages, down with the president. Around the world, people take to the streets when they think something is wrong in their country. Almost daily, you can see images of protesters on TV. They are openly having their say. The United Nations recognized freedom of expression as a fundamental human right in its Human Rights Declaration of 1948. Long before that, though, during the French Revolution in 1789, freedom of speech was enshrined as a citizen's basic right. But what does it actually mean, freedom of expression? It is the right to express your opinion publicly without fear of punishment. In democratic countries such as the US and in Europe, freedom of expression is anchored in the Constitution. According to the German Constitution, everyone has the right to freely express and disseminate his or her opinion by speech, in writing, and in images. It also applies to the media, to newspapers, as well as to TV and radio broadcasts. Censorship is prohibited in a democracy to prevent opinions and information from being manipulated. But freedom of expression is not guaranteed in every country. Dictatorships and totalitarian regimes in particular suppress criticism. There are also many examples throughout history. Roman emperors threw critics to the lions. In the Third Reich, anyone who criticized the Nazi regime was likely to be jailed or murdered. During the Arab Spring, demonstrators were driven apart by force. Under a dictatorship, the internet is often censored, so it's harder for people to access and disseminate information or critical content. But even in democracies, freedom of expression has its limits. Libel, slander, and causing gross offense is illegal, as is sedition. Access to content deemed harmful to minors is restricted. Sometimes people don't agree on what should or shouldn't be allowed. In 2005, there was heated debate over the caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, which were published in a Danish newspaper. Many Muslims felt their religious beliefs were being insulted, but in many democratic countries, people argued freedom of speech should apply in this case. On May the 3rd, World Press Freedom Day reminds people of the importance of freedom of expression and the press.
Okay, so it's basically like a general global view, and in terms of Sri Lankan situation, freedom of expression is included in the constitution. Even though people talk about it, I don't know whether how many people have read that and seen that in the constitution. So I want to also you to pay attention. We will not read this, but how it's enshrined in terms of text. For example, it's interesting. Right. Can you see the screen with the constitution?
Oh, Not yet. Right?
Okay, I think. Okay, you can see now, right? Every citizen is Constitution of Sri Lanka.
No, we can see only France.
Yeah.
Citizens
It's
to
different
leave.
page.
Of sharing. Please keep the mic muted, otherwise it's creating
Yes.
noises.
Now we can see.
So basically, please keep your mic muted. Nilan, keep them. Right. So basically, Article 14 of Sri Lankan Constitution is the one talking about the freedom of speech, assembly, association, occupation, and movement. So it very well talk about what rights we have. This is, for example, this is our fundamental right according to the Constitution, and also this new amendment introduced this access to information. That is also very progressive clause. However, this has a lot of other rights also, fundamental rights of, Sri Lankan Constitution is very liberal and very progressive actually, if you look at the terms. However, there are other provisions or laws which are curtailing these rights. Like for example, even in the Constitution, there are exceptions which curtail freedom of speech or expression based on national security, for example, and public morality, like on sexual things and all this kind of stuff, plus ethnic harmony. So these are factors which have to some extent curtailed even legally. But in addition to that, there are other laws. For example, Prevention of Terrorism Act, Emergency Regulations, ICCPR Act 2007. So these have actually the government has been able to curtail using some regulatory framework. That is why we see nowadays we don't see white vans, but use of such tools or legal tools to either to intimidate or even restrict the freedom. So this is kind of going on and increasing over the, let's say, months, even weeks. Also on online freedom, this has been kind of now restricted. I'm sure some of you refer about them. And in the final point, I want to also talk about few cases, maybe since most of you joined from other countries. Let me just check. I will just show one by one quickly. Now, okay, so first case is about the Sri Lankan he's a kind of author. His name is Kumar. Yeah, he published something on Facebook. I think something or some short story about Buddhism or something, and he was arrested and jailed, like arrested and remanded for several months using this ICCPR Act, which curtail right based on like accusing him of violating ethnic harmony because the Buddhist monk went against him to the police. So that is one famous example, but now he's freed. There's this another story where they have arrested a Tamil guy called Gokulan. He has posted some pictures of Prabhakaran. So using PTA, Prevention of Terrorism Act, he was in prison based on the idea of supporting or promoting LTTE. So that was also a recent case. And we already, I will not show them, but we also know about Vijayadasa Rajapaksa. Yesterday it happened, like direct threat from the president based on his criticism. So now this is a very good example, not beyond the legal terms, even personal level, how intimidation and threatening is happening. And also Asaila Sampath, that was the last one I wanted to prepare. Now people actually argue, okay, he had some previous problem. Now you have to understand that governments work not directly confrontational way. They use side approaches to intimidate and threaten people. So you can see he talked against a minister, powerful minister, and then he was somehow arrested. But just want to highlight on top of that, now freedom of expression is not a Sri Lankan issue. This is a very interesting case now going on in countries like Pakistan. Can you see the screen? Yeah. Okay. So basically, now here now there was a case in France where there's a Muslim fundamentalist beheaded a teacher because he showed some cartoons of Prophet Muhammad, and it was like a big thing in France. And then French president supported. French Republic is a secular republic, so they strongly support freedom of expression against this. Let's say insult to religions are kind of to allowed as far as freedom of expression is more dominant for them. But now in the Muslim world, there are a lot of anti-French protests in countries like Pakistan. It's very high level. It has been very high level. So this is also local issue. We are going to focus on that, but you have to understand that this is also a global issue because people don't agree on what should be allowed to express, what should not be. In different countries, this is different to different level based on their democracy and other values. Maybe a final point, something I forgot to mention, even though I mentioned Sri Lankan law as according to the constitution is very high, in practice life or real life, this is not really the case. We don't have good freedom. Now, for example, I would like to highlight two indicators, global indicators. One is freedom of press report and press freedom report done by two independent think tanks. If you look at Freedom House Free Press Report ranking, you can see top means highest, like Finland, other European countries are very high. Then you can see where your country, host country is based, but Sri Lanka is very low, even below than some African countries. Now India is 37. This is actually a shame because Sri Lanka supposed to be very good in, this is Bangladesh, supposed to be good in legal terms, constitutional rights. I still don't see Sri Lanka. So lower is worst, Pakistan. Now a lot of people actually appreciate Singapore. You can see Singapore also has very low freedom. Now see Sri Lanka is 72 out of 90 something. Yeah, out of 96, 97. North Korea is the worst. Finland is the best. Sri Lanka is 72. So it's very ranked very low. And if you look at also Press Freedom Index, this is Reporters Without Borders. Here, index lower means better. Again, Finland, Scandinavian, Europeans are better. And Sri Lanka here also ranks very low. Bangladesh is higher. What is Sri Lanka? Still lower compared to slightly above Saudi Arabia. So you can see in real life what kind of freedom we have to express our opinion. Okay, so finally, now this is just a background of what I think the magnitude of the problem and how we should look into that. Now, so I want to ask these questions from you in the discussion. Of course, you can have different ideas, but I will be happy if you can answer some of these questions. Now, for example, as an individual, how do you find freedom of expression? Do you think it's important for you to have, and why, for example? Secondly, I also want to ask now, what is your kind of take on Ranjan's, case? How do you kind of evaluate it? Do you consider it as disturbing or troubling? Do you have any other cases? As I have mentioned, few cases. Do you have any cases which you like to link to when you discuss about freedom of expression? And also how we can improve and protect our right of freedom of expression, as well as how we improve it constitutionally as well as practically. And what are your recommendations how to continue and go ahead? Okay, these are like my opening ideas. So we will go one by one based on when you came, and also there are some organized presentations. So I will name one by one. You can also give you a reference if you want to speak out of the queue.